Hey guys, welcome to my Splyce versus FPX VOD review. So apparently Splyce beat both FPX, J-Team, and GOM. They went 3-0 on day 2 of, or the first day of second half of groups. Like, it just blows my mind. A team that played that badly and play-in and groups can play this well and beat a team like FPX. So yeah, let's figure out what the hell happened. How'd you accomplish this, Splyce? And also, I'm sorry, I'll make my official apology on Friday on Summoning Insight.
The next round. Let's send it over to the casters to get this LPL versus LEC clash underway.
Thank you very much, Shocks. I'm Medic, joined by Frosk and Jat, and as you said, we are right on into picks and bans. Splyce on the blue side get rid of Renekton and Rise, whereas Pantheon and Gragas are the first two bans from Fun plus Phoenix.
And as we kind of storm into this draft phase,
one thing I like about the Renekton and the Rise ban is it forces Doinby to play bad 2v2 champions. I think Rise and Renekton are excellent 2v2 champions, and that's where FPX shines the most, when Doinby gets his hand on these champions and they're able to play 2v2s and get the engine kind of started. So I really like the bans.
I really want to echo what Spawn just brought up on the analyst desk, which is this time around Splyce are on the blue side, and there we go, they've already banned it. I wanted people to take note of this as Splyce continue through the tournament. They ban Kale on both blue side and red side because their biggest priority picks are the Xayah and the Syndra. With Xayah left open, I expect this is going to be the
Xayah
go-to,
first pick,
unless
give
they
him
want to try
Kai'Sa.
to play some mage flex and secure that Syndra.
But I also do wonder whether or not it would be worth it to take the Kai'Sa away, only because of how valuable it was for LWX and Doinby during the regular season. Kai'Sa, I believe, was 10-0 for LWX. I do believe the Xayah is the correct first pick, though, just because of what we've seen so far this tournament.
And it will be locked in for Splyce. Last time they played, Kobe was playing the Veigar in the bottom lane. That was the flex that they brought out on the red side. Here, as we said, FPX have the ability to react.
Yeah, and I think in the first game that these two teams played against each other, Splyce showed how well they can play around bottom lane. And actually, I think it was the fact that Kobe wasn't on an AD carry that contributed to Splyce not being able to win that game off of the kills they were able to create.
And part of that was because of how well FPX read Splyce's draft.
They need to take jungle here,
yeah. They did things like
because they were about to take game. No, jungle.
Banning away the Xayah from Kabe. This time around, second rotation immediately. Those are champions that you.
I think Gimgun and Vizicsacsi are both great on Gangplank, and I can kind of understand the takeaway, but now they either don't get a jungler or an AD carry in their first rotation, and it's going to get banned out in 4 and 5.
Very much associate with Chachi and Norscaron. FPX have done their homework, and they are denying all of the power comfort tools that Splyce want to find.
But Chachi has a little bit of comfort still left in his back pocket. The Cho'Gath top lane is something we have seen him already play at.
Now they're in a weird spot. Do we take Kai'Sa out, or do we delay the... Now they don't get jungle if they take Kai'Sa here.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't taken right now by...
Luckily for Splyce, or luckily for FPX, Splyce didn't take a jungle here, so now both teams need to take a jungle, so maybe there won't be that heavy of jungle bans. Interesting that they took Cho'Gath early. I'm not sure people would know that Vizicacsi's like other go-to would be Cho'Gath into Gangplank.
By FPX, then it would have been banned phase 2 by Splyce, but even though we don't see other teams picking the Cho'Gath, this isn't that surprising for Splyce to do it in this situation.
Yeah, it's not.
I expect FPX to start putting.
I'm not sure how much respect FPX would have given to Splyce, and if they would have banned Cho or not.
They're effectively going to take away 3 pivotal jungle picks. I didn't expect the Nocturne. I do expect a Gragas. Xerxes then still has his Karthus and his Olaf left available to him.
Gragas has already been removed by FPX. Splyce here looking to see where they want to put their bans. Could try and hamper Doinby just a little bit. Rumble is the pick for them, and we'll see if FPX once again go towards those jungle bans you were talking about.
Oh, Rumble ban mid?
Emphasis on trying to take away AD
Why the Rumble ban?
There, simply because it is an AP-oriented top laner. If Xerxes is going to play around
Nocturne Olaf,
mix the damage profile up there. But
pinching the jungle, they're going to take jungle on 4.
That Tian gets the stronger jungle matchup against Splyce, because you know Xerxes is the X factor for this team that can unlock the map, so you want to make sure that you keep him down with your FPX.
So what's the jungle power pick they have left? Because I'm expecting FPX to throw it in here, and it's Lee Sin. I was just trying to go through all of the tier list of junglers. Like, surely they have something ready the first pick, then they can last pick the counter pick for doing.
What do you take into Lee? Rek'Sai?
Towards something like the Rek'Sai.
Yeah.
Certainly fit in a
good call, Frost.
A, and answer into a Lee Sin, and B, offer him a lot of that speed and that control through the jungle.
Ooh,
but he also
Akali
has things
blind.
like the Jarvan.
There's the Rek'Sai. Akali Rek'Sai. Really strong mid jungle 2v2. Alright, what do you take here?
Final pick. It's a counter pick for mid, we expect. But of course, Doinb could take the gangplank into the mid lane.
He could take.
They were planning to pick Akali the moment they banned Rumble. I was wondering why the Rumble ban came out.
Take whatever he wants into the mid lane at this point.
Something that goes well with Lee Sin.
Actually already 2 champions.
Galio. Lee Sin, Galio don't have the best mid jungle 2v2, and I say this again and again. If you're gonna pick Galio, make sure you have Jarvan or Camille. It works so much better. So I'm not in love with FPX's draft. I just wish they pick stronger mid jungle 2v2 champs.
In this case, we're pretty sure it would be the Galio going mid.
Could be Nautilus.
It definitely could be. He was a big Nautilus mid player throughout the summer split. He actually played it 6 times, but it has been.
I mean, Galio into Akali is a good pick, but still.
The recent power buffs to Galio make it so he can get decent shove against.
I don't think the mid jungle 2v2 is going to be that strong, especially versus a Rek'Sai.
Yeah, absolutely, Ja. And on top of that, it's also just really difficult for the.
I really like Splyce's draft. They got a lot of things that they want. Cho'Gath is the only questionable for me, but Vizicsacsi is a Cho'Gath like specialty.
Super obnoxious. Walk into the middle of that shroud and make sure that.
On the other hand, Funplex got a lot of what they wanted too. Gangplank, Nautilus, Kai'Sa. I just wish their mid and jungle pick was a little bit more cohesive.
The bottom lane like they did the last time these two teams met. FPX have a lot of teamfight tools, have a lot of AoE, and have Tian on an early, strong.
4 of Splyce's bans target Doinb, not 4, all 5. Renekton is more of a Doinb pick than a
like a lot of us
pick.
expected them here because they have another draft that really does suit their style.
FPX and Splyce fighting for their qualification to the quarterfinals.
Let's see it. Doinb. Wait, what the hell? The loading was kind of screwed up.
The crowd here in the Verti Music Hall in Berlin showing their support for Splyce.
Okay, that was
Splyce
weird.
win this, they guarantee themselves at least a tiebreaker in the qualification for quarterfinals. FPX would guarantee themselves a spot in the quarterfinals, although not guaranteed that first position.
Yeah, and we need to see if anything happens at level 1 because we saw Splyce's win over J-Team earlier today where actually Vizicsacsi managed to hand Xerxes first blood on a silver platter. From the looks of it, it is very defensive from both teams. It's not like the teams wouldn't have tools to go in. FPX could have done a Nautilus invade, and Splyce could have tried to do something with Cho'Gath, who has a very powerful level 1.
And checking kind of what we expect the initial jungle rotations for these guys to be. You already talked about this in Draft Medic, that Tian on this Lee Sin, the early game jungler, is the acting bridge for what is very clearly a team fight composition from FPX. They want to be in that 5v5, so all eyes are on him and what lanes he can attack. Now that said, he does have great setup in both his bot and his mid lane, and there's that delayed evade you were alluding to, Jat.
I mean, I understand the whole FPX wants to get a good teamfight comp, but it doesn't matter if you have a good teamfight comp if you can't get to teamfight in a secure manner. Like, I like FPX so much better when their mid and jungle 2v2 is strong, so they can bridge that mid jungle 2v2 lead into bottom dive, and then they get their AD fed, and then they're going into teamfight that way. But yeah, Lee Galio just isn't that, especially versus a Rek'Sai. Man, just invest a little bit more into the mid and jungle, and it will make your comp so much more functional. FPX.
Steal away this red buff. 4 members strong. Splyce unaware that it's happening. Question mark pings do come out.
Oh, he's unburrowed as well.
He's already unburrowed.
Oh, Doinb has the cutoff too.
Doinb has the cutoff. Xerxes still has his flash. Doinb looking for the taunt, won't land it, but Xerxes has had to burn that flash early on.
And that was a very big chance as they get the hook onto Norscaron.
Doinb's gonna be fucked.
Yes.
That was one of the longest chants that I've seen. I mean, in the LPL, they have...
Humanoid was in lane by himself. He was trying to push fast as possible, but for some reason, he only got 4 out of 6.
chant leaders.
This is super dangerous for Humanoid. He's just been flashed on by Doinby. Tian going in as well, but the flash away from Humanoid.
Yeah, that's just going to be very greedy by Humanoid, trying to see if he can get that wave shoved in. Didn't respect the fact that he had eyes on Tian, walking into that jungle, rocking up into his lane with the red buff, and that's now 2 flashes gone, and Xerxes and Humanoid right out the gate.
Good start for FPX.
I wonder, though, because it is mid lane Burning Flash, and technically Galio would be a little bit vulnerable. He's so tanky early, it's probably okay, but...
oh my gosh.
Bot
lane smashing, jungle doing well.
And you
Mid
can
lane
see
kind of
the
even.
impact of this initial invade across the map.
Top also doing well.
That bot lane. Without
across
red,
the
there's
map,
not
it's
a lot
good
of
for
reason
FPX.
Xerxes to be down there. He was chased and forced up into the top side of his jungle, which means that LWX and Chris now get to go fully on the aggressive, getting these health advantages over Kabe and Norscarin.
And they were having this discussion on the analyst desk, saying they think the key matchup
predicted
is
that they would move back a
Xerxes.
little
Xerxes
bit.
has been one of the key carries for Splyce throughout
But
the
they
course
didn't
of
dodge
the
at all,
split
and they just kept
throughout the
walking
course of this
straight.
tournament, and he's been set behind early on here by FunPlus Phoenix.
Yeah, and you can see that FPX had the same idea as all of us did in terms of getting that to happen. I think a bigger thing is actually whether or not FPX can protect their lanes, because they actually have had their either top lane or bot lane crashed fairly often so far this tournament.
I'm actually really curious what happened there with Xerxes canceling his back. Now, he does go back. He should be heading towards his Krug camp. And why I think this is important is because of the timing, not only on taking the Krugs, but on possibly finding a gank bot lane. LWX and Crisp are both pushed very far forward. FPX should expect the Krug camp is what he's going to go for.
They're going to collide here. How many cooldowns is Tian going to use? He's actually used his Q and W already.
Elysian doesn't have war jump. He has to burn flash if he wants to live. He's going to have to burn flash.
Have his flash. Xerxes going to land the unbow. Here comes Kobe as well. Tian rooted up with the blade call and standing off towards the other side.
Other two came in.
Forward.
What? Just flash forward? What the hell? Why'd you flash forward? You got your Lee out of there. So greedy.
Quite a strange interaction there where Tian really knew he had a lot of backup coming, but since he was down cooldowns, needed to be very patient. The most surprising thing to me was actually the fact that Crisp flashed and ignited when it felt mainly like he was there for defense.
Yeah, a little bit of a misread it feels like there, but now in the mid
lane.
Took away, but the Justice Pump is blocked. Doinby still lands the taunt.
The timing for the gank was really good.
He's just gonna walk it out.
Doinby did a good job of dodging the Akali though.
No way to chase that Galio.
Oh, Galio. Aftershock waits that out, then gets the damage reduction from his taunt. So is really just reducing any potential burst from both Splyce people and just walks slowly towards his jungle. Really well played.
But look at the confidence. Doinby then immediately just teleports back into the mid lane. Xerxes could actually just walk around and look for another repeat gank here.
Gimgoon's going to teleport up towards top. This wave is pushing in towards Chachi, who's yet to have a chance to go back. Tian perhaps could look for a gank. He's going to spot out Xerxes, who is on his wolves, and just trying to steal away as much of this jungle as possible early on.
Yeah, and just track Xerxes as much as possible. Tian has been in his face, in his jungle, clashing on Krug camp, now stealing away Gromp. And again, if you control Xerxes, you control Splyce. He is completely taking all of the teeth out of their early game.
No, don't dive, don't dive. Just cancel his back. Don't dive, don't dive.
Doinby's also
even with Galio, don't dive.
Would like to try and 3-man dive here.
Not happening. Not happening. Not happening.
Much of a hamper on it. It's probably enough to pull them off the dive, though.
And Xerxes in the right place just to make FunPlus Phoenix doubt themselves on that top lane dive.
Yeah, I think overall, even though FPX is trying to apply a lot of pressure, yes, the Rek'Sai is behind, but the bottom lane for Splyce is doing just fine. The fact that Crisp used his flash and ignite during one of Tian's jungle invades has allowed Kabe and Norscarin to kind of shove in this bottom lane. And if you're Splyce and you say, all right, 6 minutes into the game,
it's weird that Cho'Gath is ahead in FPX though.
You're probably taking that.
He's not like terribly ahead, but it is still weird that he's ahead.
Yeah. Losing a lot of those flashes. Now the guy that can throw a wrench into that is of course Doinby there. You can see that even pre-level 6, he's already trying to see if he can.
Cho'Gath is actually really nice in terms of scaling.
Obviously that's going to unlock and
Champion's so
even
relevant
worse
in
as
team
soon as
fights.
he does have access to the Galio ultimate, and that's kind of the staple play from FunPlus Phoenix. They love to unlock their mid laner and then have his impact felt all across the map.
Especially when you have the Gangplank who can interact with the Cannon Barrage as well.
Oh shit. Oh shit, this looks like a solo kill.
Cannon Barrage comes down from Gingoon, he's going to eat some oranges and he's K to walk out of...
All across the map.
Especially when you have the Gangplank who can interact with the Cannon Barrage as well.
Oh, should have just waited a little. He has silence also. You could have silenced 8.
The kill here. Cannon Barrage comes down from Gingoon. He's going to eat some oranges, and he's K to walk out of that one. But
I ate oranges and I was
to
okay.
bursting out the Gangplank.
Yeah, Cho'Gath does have very strong dueling at level 6. That was maybe one auto attack away, but Gimgoon...
He used silence after he used ult. He can't silence because GP can eat out of the silence, but it's just better to save your ult until the very end.
Away from his bottom lane. That wave is just in the middle of the lane, so he's not going to lose too much from this. But Xerxes still only level 4, is getting up towards that level 5, has been set behind, and because of that, Tian is able just to take away this this Ocean Dragon without Splyce really being able to react.
Yeah, one of the nice things about Lee Sin is his ability to do dragons pretty much solo as soon as he's level 5. So they've been up in Xerxes' face. They had the timer on the red buff, and it was a pretty easy plan play for FPX to force the dragon when you knew that Xerxes was going to be dealing with his buff.
You can see the difference between the two junglers, about 17 to
GP
20
up 18 CS.
On who has done
GP's
their
actually GP down 18 CS. Cho'Gath is crushing in top lane.
Support can be for FPX. Well, we already see him trying to team up with Doinby and Tian in this mid lane.
And we're just kind of waiting now for...
Vizicsacsi actually played really well in the Nard game too. He's having a great day.
Galio can basically try to get the roam to top or bottom lane. It just depends where FPX is looking to spend their gold. Traditionally, it would be down to LWX to try and get him fed, but with the GP actually being a little bit pushed in by this Cho'Gath, there's a good argument to be made that he should send it there. So Splyce is just doing their best to try and ward the river,
building a lead on his own. Other lanes slowly getting ahead. Akali, Xayah.
Then they can actually run away with either one of those lanes.
Yeah, and with the early Ocean down and Rift Herald not spawned yet, it's pretty much fair for both teams to kind of go a little bit quiet right now as we're waiting for either other big cooldowns or other big timers to actually force anyone's hand.
Level 6 on Rek'Sai. Now Splyce can look for something.
Continue to farm, so you should see the junglers either just shadowing underneath their push.
Scaling for both teams pretty even.
Protection, and then waiting for things like
neither team can just wait and sit around. They need to be proactive as they see actions coming up. Like, if they see opportunities, neither team can just be like, oh, we can outscale them. There's no need for us to do this.
Again, it's mostly protecting Chachi while he's this far forward. Obviously, if you find the rupture, you flash chomp someone, then yeah, you look for the kill. But Gimgoon should just let the wave push into him.
And this is more what FPX is used to
doing.
Oh,
there it is.
Leaving Gimgoon on island.
Flash away, but the flash
wow.
The chomp coming down. Gimgoon is down.
Leaving Gimgoon on.
Look at the Rek'Sai. Look at the Rek'Sai.
This is more what FPX is used to doing.
He didn't unburrow, he waited. Holy shit. I think most Rek'Sai would have unburrowed there. Waited to unburrow.
Flash away, but the flash chase is there.
Oh, really well done.
Down. Gimgoon is down. First blood to Splyce.
Big play there. Nicely done by Splyce going flash for flash. It all leads off of Chachi's ability to land that rupture, though. It's what made it inescapable. FPX, though, looking to move fast. And I think Splyce has done their homework quite well. Humanoid was roamed down already to try and match.
Noskaran there waiting to use the battle dance so he can get away. As you say, Humanoid was on his way down.
Splyce not allowing dives to happen for the Gallios also.
The bottom lane, but early doors, Splyce have been able to match this aggression out of Fun plus Phoenix.
Yeah, and just as Jat was just talking about the fact that Humanoid beat Doinby to the punch, was shadowing underneath him as Doinby was looking for the roam. That said, they still have priority with this mid lane, and Doinby is going to force these roams.
Yeah, and FPX is really trying to get bot side control, considering they have basically abandoned Gimgoon up on the top lane, but they haven't been able to do so, which is a fairly big and meaningful win for Splyce. Remember, Splyce did win the early game in the first matchup between these two, and they're looking to do it again.
Splyce have set up a trap here. Crisp and Tian now realize that Noskaran's on the way. Crisp flashes out. And the chase does not continue, but Splyce there understanding what FPX wanted to do.
I mean, it's
the GP versus Cho'Gath matchup's going to get worse and worse. They're going to start bleeding top side.
It really is who's getting first to the punch, but you can very clearly see that everyone is putting so many resources and so much attention into tracking each other, trying to set trap upon trap.
And as we get just over the 10-minute mark, is it about 1,000 gold lead here for Splyce? They have 10 CS lead in the bottom lane, about 20 in the mid lane, so their solo laners farming up very well. Although Xerxes was put behind, he's only 200 gold behind, where you see there's a 300 gold lead in the mid lane and almost 1,000 in top.
Yeah, and I think Humanoid and Vizicsacsi are having a very good day. The game one where Humanoid had such an influence on both side lanes and team fights with this Cassiopeia, again here, having to blind pick
both solo laners actually doing so well for Splyce.
Whatever Doinby wanted to play against him, And sure, he hasn't gotten a kill.
I thought they would have a hard time matching up to FPX in terms of solo laners.
But Galio hasn't been able to get any roams. And then you also
I'm
have
surprised, especially Vizicsacsi.
The nice thing about the item is
I had higher expectation for Humanoid. I thought, and also Doinby isn't like a mechanical god or anything. It's that their 2v2 is really good. But Vizicsacsi, I expected him to fully get blown out by Gimgun.
The big power spike for Akali because it gives her kill pressure over virtually anyone on the map.
Jersey sitting on a ward.
He has been spotted out once again. You
Doesn't realize.
The ability to track the enemy jungler is paramount here. Now Zes is going to step in. He realizes Tian's there. Chachi's gone forward onto Gimgun. The cannon barrage coming down. The silence will be used with that first screen, but Chachi has to flash away. The chase still on here, perhaps for FPX if they want. They decide not to dive the tower.
The layering of CC from Splyce there to make sure that Xerxes hit the knock-up on Lee Sin and
Galio hasn't done anything. Galio hasn't been proactive.
Because Tian was looking for the angle to get the Dragon Rage kick and kick Cho'Gath away back towards Gimgun. It saved Chachi's life.
Chachi did have to burn his flash though, so perhaps a repeat gank could come out. Tian is taking away the Rift Herald. It will be the second neutral objective for FPX in this early game.
And you can see, even though the CS is in the advantage of Humanoid,
this is really nice. Before 14 minutes off, so go use it.
They will get this Rift Herald, and it'll be a question of whether or not
just use it mid.
Try and fight them in the river. Giving up mid priority for that Rift Herald could be relatively costly. If Doinby is actually going to recall, there's a chance he loses a good number more CS.
And so far, it feels like this game have been the junglers just making eye contact, tracking each other around, but it is Tian that is finding these slight advantages in terms of moving to the jungle, the early ocean, getting his hands on that Rift Herald. So small advantages that's not necessarily reflected in the gold lead, but that Herald could quickly come out and even things up for FPX.
Definitely could. We're starting to see first completed items across the board. Mana Moon stacking up for LWX. Proto Belt is first on Doinby, as you would expect.
Alright, Proto Galio, let's see some stuff.
Has now been completed.
Let's see some catches. Also, let's use Herald before 14 minutes.
I don't think... Well, now they know about no scaring.
Second Dragon, really double Ocean. If they go for this Dragon play, they're not going to get plating with the Herald.
Even though GP Ultimate isn't up, that's kind of what
Cho's making Righteous Glory.
Splyce to do here, and it is just a second Ocean Drake, so Splyce decides.
Wait, what about the Herald? What about the Herald? What about the plating gold?
From the way Splyce has been able to play early games the whole year, I think even though Splyce
Wait,
is
what about the plating gold?
They're not bad early game, they're just different.
Doinby!
Teams.
They grabbed Herald and they don't use it for plating gold. What the fuck?
Exactly what we're seeing here.
They like to neutralize.
It's like 300 gold down the drain.
Their style. Now, something that is kind of
what the fuck?
How well Chachi is actually doing up into this top lane. So,
you're not gonna get plating gold. Too late.
GP matchup, as now the Herald goes down mid with Tian also behind it.
Used just a little bit late there. No plate's gonna be taken by this, but they could still.
Why not just do this 30 seconds earlier? You troll.
Tian there as well. Crispin LWX coming up from the bottom lane. Ripped Herald about.
You trolls! You absolute trolls!
Underneath the tower, and Splyce will hold on to that tower in mid.
Gimgun down 40 CS, Doinby trolling with Herald.
Once they start getting Essence Reaver onto Kabe and having a level 11 Cho'Gath with Righteous Glory, they're also going to have a pretty strong team fight, so things going quite well first 15 minutes of this game for Splyce.
And it's it's actually quite reminiscent of the first time these two teams met, but it's very different for Splyce. Just after they got demolished by J-Team, I think a lot of people have counted them out of this group, and now they've won their first game of today. They're pushing FPX back. They're about 1,500 gold ahead at the 15-minute mark.
Because it was about reflection on what were the errors that Splyce made to lose a lot of the faith, and it was execution-based errors. I felt like their game plan was quite clever every single time, but you had things like Northscaran diving towers or Humanoid overextending without any sort of safety, and that seems to be really cleaned up. Jack, you said it. It just feels like Humanoid's having a much better day, and you just need one good day today.
Just need one good day. On the day. Any team on any day.
Way better than having a good day on one of the first week group stage games, but the weakness of Splyce has been the mid game, which is what's going to be put to the test here. They have
Gimgun bleeding so much for FPX.
2,000 gold lead.
The Cho's actually going to be problematic.
In exchange for 2 Oceans.
Champions like Galio, champions like Lee Sin, who have to be in close range and who are spell based, have such a hard time with champions like Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath is going to be so disruptive in mid game. Whenever they fight, the Cho'Gath is unkillable. He's so effective. He has a kill threat. This champion's going to be really problematic.
I'd say it's still probably a slight advantage to Splyce, but it depends on how they play from here on out.
Definitely does, especially since FPX have this team fighting comp that can work for them as the game progresses. We talked about Tiana's their bridge, where here comes the fight in the bottom lane. Grand entrance to they're trying to take down Crisp. Here comes the hero's entrance. The hourglass has already been popped. Kobe fighting down towards the bottom side, takes down Crisp. Goes Golden himself. Doing B is low. Tiana's in the middle of it all. The jump in with the killer instinct. LWX is called out by Xerxes and Norscaren. And the bangs will sink in. No way out for LWX. Xerxes takes the kill. And underneath
4 for 1. Holy shit, that was so good. That was so good.
That is a huge win for Splyce. That's a 4 for 1, and now a 3-0 Cho'Gath, who is going to take a bite out of the turd as well.
And it was the numbers difference. It's the fact that it means more when it is Cho'Gath teleporting down to a fight than just the Gangplank ultimate. Gimgoon's still sitting on his TP. He'll be trading or attempting to trade back the tower.
Chris just insta-died. Chris didn't get to do anything.
Massive win for Splyce.
Accelerated them 4,000 gold in the lead. Chachi's not going to be able to take down the tower completely, but
Cho'Gath is so relevant here. Look at Chris. No aftershock, no nothing.
And it's important that Splyce were the ones to start.
No aftershock. So no aftershock. So he got all his HP burned without proc aftershock. Really bad.
And then also
Kabe E kills Chris and also roots LWX and does so much damage to him. Really nice E.
Are able to kind of just withstand the Galio ultimate. Look how low Doinb is by the time he ults in. That was Humanoid chunking down most of his health, and after that happens, I mean, Chachi with Righteous Glory, we mentioned that power spike was going to be huge.
Yeah, I don't get the hate against Splyce either. I think they're a really good team. But some people didn't think they were that great. I thought they were
from the other side of the fight. And also, when you make Doinb use his ultimate early, you can then play around it rather than it being something you have to react to in the middle of a 5v5 fight.
But with all the gold that Chachi's now acquired, 3-0 on the Cho'Gath, he now not only has the completed Righteous Glory, but the Ninja Tabi as well as the Gargoyle Stoneplate. The front line is well and truly existent now for Splyce. And when a team is made entirely around playing Kabi front to back, the fact that Chachi is already at this level is massive. Now they can play 1-4 and feel super safe if it turns into a big 5v5 as long as Chachi is there.
Because although LWX on the Kai'Sa will have some tank shred, you don't usually see that as much from a Gangplank, and you definitely don't see that from a Galio in a side lane. So LWX really the only one who'll be able to work his way through Chachi in any prolongated fight.
Yeah, and it's the fact that there's not a tank.
Inferno Drake, Cho'Gath 2 items complete, GP just Trinity. No one can do anything versus the Cho'Gath. They can't ignore the Cho'Gath. But they also can't kill the Cho'Gath. They're so screwed.
Slightly longer range and a bit more protection than the close range of Kai'Sa.
And how nice for Splyce that this is the Infernal Drake that spawns in. So the two oceans,
they can't even go near it. They can't even go near it.
Go to FPX. Now we have Gimgoon trying to shove out top lane as Splyce, who just proved they are much stronger in team fights, get river control and get pretty much
they can't even go near it.
19 minutes on the clock, the Infernal goes over to Splyce. They have a 4,000 gold lead or thereabouts. I do want to remind everyone, last time these two teams played, Splyce were in the advantage. Splyce were in the lead until they made a bad Baron call and FPX fought back because of it. It's not all done. FPX have shown us so many times that they can fight back from a deficit.
Would Splyce have one LPL?
Yeah, that is definitely still true that Splyce can still mess
If Splyce played an LPL, would they have one LPL? Now that's the question.
That Splyce want to set up in terms of their strong 5v5 front to back, as well as playing Akali in a side lane, and it's using their mobility. It's using things like that Galio ultimate, like the Gangplank ultimate, to create unfair fights at this point in the map until they get some more itemization.
Yeah, and here's the gold graph from the last time they met. So yes, they have a 3,500 gold lead now. They had a 7.7k gold lead last time, about 7 more minutes into the game. So still lots of League of Legends to be played, but my eyes will consistently be going towards Chachi's Cho'Gath. Not only is he the strongest member on the team, he's the highest CS member of the team, he's had very good chomps so far. So the way Cho'Gath chomp works is you can get 6 minion eats and then you can't get any more, but you get an unlimited amount of champion or dragon eats. He's only consumed 2 of his champion, or 2 of his minion ones, and he's gotten 2 champions and a Drake. So he's going to be very, very big in the late game and is off to a spectacular start.
Yeah, anytime Chachi has Flash, the threat that he can have on someone like LWX, that just immediate burst damage can force a Kai'Sa out of a fight. So we'll also be keeping track of that cooldown and see if
I feel for the Kai'Sa, because Kai'Sa's short range is so hard to deal with the Cho'Gath.
wouldn't put it past him at all. Chachi now in the bottom lane.
3K.
1-3-1.
Fuck that champion.
That we have seen from Splyce in the past. Humanoid in a side lane, as you say. It looks like Gimgoon's going to be the one to try and deal with him. No one yet dealing with Chachi, but as that wave pushes in, I'm sure FPX will send someone down towards that bottom lane.
It's most likely going to be Gimgoon, but he does also have to be careful. I mean, Vizicsacsi can just use Righteous Glory and run at him if he ever kind of...
Splyce is actually doing such a good job of doing things in the mid game instead of playing for nothing. Usually they play for nothing until they get items, but they're actually playing for the mid game.
Chris lands the hook. Hero's
Just
entrance coming in.
just
Chachi
run,
already popped the
just
gargoyle stone
run.
plate. Look at how healthy he is. He's going to flash
Just
away.
run. You guys are
TN trying to
fine.
get
Just
Humanoid up
keep
towards the
running.
top side of the fight, but Splyce are able to disengage. The rupture lands on Gimgoon. But FPX
Cho'Gath had to burn
hold on
flash
that
a little
mid
bit
tower.
bad, but
Splyce
still,
got a lot of key
that wasn't
cooldowns
terrible.
there. They got the Gangplank ultimate as well as the Galio ultimate, so they just need to kind of do the same maneuver, which is hard push one of their side lanes. You can see Humanoid
Oh,
doing
that
it right now
silence.
for a
Oh,
little
that
while.
silence.
He comes out. You say they got him. He goes golden, but that stopwatch
Oh.
is not going to stop his death. Xerxes takes down Doinb. Tian is still looking for the flank here as Splyce will push for the mid lane tower, and they will get it.
And it's keeping the pressure up, knowing that those cooldowns aren't available.
This
Damn.
has been such a good start to the day for Splyce. They look clean against J-Team. They look cleaner against FPX, and they're going for more.
Tian lands the kick on Xerxes.
If Xerxes used ult immediately, I think he had a shot of living there. Use ult after you get kicked, so you don't take damage, and then flash out. He tried to flash out before using ult.
Or not.
I think Tian made Xerxes go for a little bit more there. He perhaps didn't want to.
Yeah.
Humanoid was pushing in the top lane, not with his team. It's a 3v3 in mid, but Splyce will be able to disengage.
Just looks so bizarre because he was like underground the entire time.
I'm like, it looks
Oh,
like
he had
this
no
is
one
diving.
stacked, you're right.
Nope, that was a Lee Sin kit. He's dying.
The difference between
Ooh,
diving and
yikes.
being delivered.
Yes, Splyce perhaps a little bit over.
And he should have just
to try
died
and get
gracefully
that
there and
second
saved
tower
flash.
in the mid lane. They chipped it down about a third of its health.
The ping goes down from Splyce on the top tower. Just the single blue ping, like, hey guys, I think we should have rotated here.
Yeah, maybe we should have got this one instead of opening us up to those Lee Sin flanks. 22 and a half minutes in. That goal
Yeah,
is
Doinb
still
picked
sitting
Galio into
around
Kali.
the 3.5 to 4K mark for Splyce. They have an Infernal. There's another one up in a minute.
Taking another look at this
Oh,
one, we talked about how
good cutoff.
it was about the
Damn,
cooldown
Vizicsacsi
usage, but
did
again,
everything.
Really nice CC layering. Chachi catches Doinb there with the rupture, then silences him. They make sure that the Galio can't get away from them, take him down, but just
Oh
stuck
wait,
it over
he did
here.
have Lee. He had Lee marked. He could have ulted Lee.
Nice kick
Ult,
by
ult, ult,
Tian
ult.
to kind of save the play, but the beginning of that was Chachi hiding around Fog of War to land that rupture, and I think not only from the laning phase he's had, but from the mid game, it feels like FPX isn't really used to playing against the Cho'Gath, the corridors you have to worry about to get hit by those ruptures from Fog of War, and now with 30 seconds remaining on the second Infernal spawn, there is an inherent pressure for FPX to try and contest this, but I think if they do try and contest it and they lose a fight, the game would basically be over because we're at a point where Splyce could win a fight and then go for Baron.
Well, Infernal up in 20 seconds. Splyce gain control of the river. FPX. LWX is at 2 items now. He's building up towards the Nash's Tooth. He's very strong. You have the Zhonya's complete on Doinb, and you can see FPX are pulling Splyce up towards this Baron.
They're trading Baron pressure and threat for Infernal Drake, so it's a way they can get control of an area.
But now they need to make sure that they hit their CC because you know Splyce are going to check for this.
Alright, let's
So
see.
Noskarin has the quickness, could look for the engage. Crisp is on the front line, misses the dredge line. Humanoid still down towards that bottom lane, pushing in. Cannon Barrage comes out, FPX not going to be able to push forward, and the Baron has reset. Doinb actually knocked up there by the Baron, so FPX are going to turn back towards it. Gimgoon's gone away, but Splyce now looking for the fight. Humanoid waiting, seeing if he can TP in. Gimgoon's on the back of this, but FPX once again disengage, step away, and Splyce have got the tower. And
They're
are
trying to
continuing
force a
push it
team
bot
fight
lane.
with this
Splyce
Baron.
are
It's
just
not
playing
happening.
with their food right now. They made FPX make a very tough
It's not gonna
decision.
happen.
Are you going to sit on the Baron, or are you going to contest Humanoid? And they just got away with murder. They got
Ugh.
massive cooldowns. They now force FPX off the Baron and got the tower.
Yeah, FPX is getting schooled. I think what they were trying to go for was, hey, Splyce is
feels
going to think
so
we're just going
bad.
for Baron Vision, so they'll hold 1 or 2 people back to kill the Infernal Drake, and then we'll be able to force. That's not what Splyce did at all. Splyce played this very smartly. They knew they could always come back to the Infernal Drake later, and they also knew that with no Mountain Drakes and a Galio mid, the Baron wasn't going to be very fast. So they
FPX
slowly
trying to
made sure
well
Splyce
they
couldn't
know
do Baron.
they know long as the game progresses this way they're gonna get fucked, so they're trying to start Baron to get a team fight going, but Splyce has so much champions that are fluid, and FPX doesn't have a good engage other than like Nautilus landing a hook or Galileo landing like E into taunt. So it's really hard for them to actually get Splyce caught out at Baron.
While also getting the the second tier bot turret and
Cho's unkillable. They can't force a team fight.
I want to remind everyone how important this game is.
Getting out of control.
Win this. They are locked in quarterfinals. Not locked in first. They might have to play a tiebreaker for that second game, but they would be guaranteed a spot in quarterfinals. If Splyce win, they are guaranteed a tiebreaker at least to fight for that second spot.
I will say at this point in the map now, things are starting to shift a little bit back towards FPX, and that they're going to feel more confident looking for 5v5s. They got the key itemization that they wanted on Kai'Sa, as well as now their Hourglass and Proto Belt completed for Doinb there. So if they get the perfect fight, if they find the Wombo combo, they certainly have the tools to really make it stick.
I don't think Splyce have realized there's a control ward spotting them out. Just in that curved bush in the river. They really need to clear that one out at the moment. Xerxes is just staying around it, now walks over it, but it wasn't spotted out. Kobe, depth charge lands, Norscarin hooked up, trying to get away, but Tian is there. Tian though goes golden underneath the tower. Chris going low, tanks up a tower shot. Tian able to flash away. Kobe has a lot of damage, but
and they got a kill on a support. This doesn't change that much.
FPX will get a kill and get out.
They can't force a Baron.
Good job by FPX to get a little bit of gold back, but you can see even
they still have to deal with Cho and team fights. It doesn't really change anything.
Many of them low, and it meant that Humanoid was just going to be able to free farm in this side lane. Look at that now, 280.
It's going to come down to Splyce opening the team fight at Baron, and FPX is going to have to handshake the fight, and Splyce is going to be just fine.
The map better than FPX as Gimgoon now caught out.
Knockup didn't land there, so Gimgoon is just able to flash away. You feel like the CC
they got outer turrets. They're going to reset, spend the gold, and then they're going to fight.
Yeah, and just thinking about this game overall, double Inferno to double Ocean with a 5,000 gold lead, you turn
this team fight at Baron, FPX can't handle.
In the first game,
Kai'Sa has to go off. Kai'Sa has to like kill Xayah, and then like Akali's like chunked, and then Kai'Sa can slowly melt down the Cho'Gath.
They have so much sidewave pressure. They are stronger in properly set up 5v5 fights. So all they need to do is find a way to get FPX together and TP in behind him. That's where Splyce can win this game.
And this is where every Splyce fan just holds their breath. You can see it in the inventory. They know, chat. They've got all of the control wards. It's about getting priority, but someone's caught.
You're starting to fight on Cho. You're wasting too much damage. You're starting to fight on Cho. Akali coming in. Cho needs to ult. Cho needs to ult. Doesn't matter. You use so much cooldown, and the Cho was so tanky.
He will fall first. That's another kill, but it's Humanoid who's fallen.
This fight actually is relatively even. Oh, Rek'Sai. Damn, this LWX guy is trolling. Holy shit.
But how bold is Splyce going to be with this? Is this just about clearing out the vision? They have
the fight almost was possible for FPX, but they wasted way too much damage on Cho for it to ever be worth.
Kabe with 3 items can shred this Baron. That Baron's going to be going to Splyce. Let's watch how it works.
You're starting to fight on Cho.
FPX did catch Chachi, but he
Don't
has
matter.
8,000 health.
Don't matter.
That Gargoyle Stone Split. So
don't matter. You guys use way too much. You guys use way too much.
And wreak some havoc on the back line.
It's the perfect champion for Chachi, a guy who has some of the highest isolated deaths in the domestic season for LEC. If you catch him out rotation,
this Q by Rek'Sai,
he doesn't instantly die. They have now band-aided with this pick of the Cho'Gath to mean that FPX invested so much time in trying to kill him that the rest of Splyce destroyed the fight.
It's the power of that front to back you were talking about. Chachi can tank up
Akali,
so long. Kobe has a lot of free time to stand away from the fight and slowly work his way through FPX.
Double
That's
Inferno.
If they set up the fight.
Sure, it still worked, Vosk, okay? We give them those. We take those, okay? As our North American brethren would say.
I mean, it's...
Cho'Gath level 16 with the ultimate now.
That's a thing.
100%
what?
true.
Oh my god, Cho'Gath ultimate here. Cho'Gath ultimate here. Cho'Gath ultimate here, not gonna be fun.
Mid lane tower. It's still alive, but the Baron buff is helping Splyce quite a lot. Humanoid's down in the bottom lane. Doinb going in. Featherstorm flash away from Kobe.
Fourth, way too fourth.
No shape
way too fourth.
Another
and that was their one shot at it. I don't mind it too much because if they don't do anything, they just slowly lose to Baron. So correct that FPX went for something.
Join the fight. Tian trying to get away. LWX and Norscarin on the chase. The knockup, the double. Splyce once again win the fight.
These are long death timers and minion waves are in position. It is just one GP trying to defend the turret. At most, This is FPX losing 2 inhibitors.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's the fact that the waves are both there, so even though the Gangplank ultimate comes down, he can only save 1. Xerxes has prepared this earlier up onto the top side. There's 2.
This could be over.
It could be over. Mid lane inhib is going to fall. Top lane will follow shortly after. I feel like Splyce will accept this for now. Further in the lead than they were last time by 1,000 gold. Maybe that's enough for Splyce to close out this game in the end. Mid and top inhibs are down.
I think Splyce saw it as a safe play to take 2 inhibitors there, but let's watch this fight one more.
They have to go for this, because if they don't go for this, they just lose turrets and they slowly lose to Baron. So this is the only chance FPX has.
Doinby thought he could get Kabe, but Kabe had the reaction time and the flash cooldown to completely turn that
That was
around.
like the shitty thing about FPX's comp. Their comp sucks at engaging.
Can be so valuable, and then as the fight continues, yes, LWX
like
gets
all their engages
shutdown,
have to get mega force, like Galio or like Flash, Nautilus Q.
Like the one way FPX could still win this game, but after Splyce win that fight with Baron taking 2 inhibs,
GG.
It's a fight away.
The fight was a 4v5 for all of it, as well as Humanoid had been pushing in the bot lane. Now, still a minute left on this Baron power play. 3 players from Splyce are down towards the bottom lane. Xerxes and Humanoid are going to keep this mid lane pushed up, try and crash those waves at the same time.
Yeah, because when you have 2 inhibs there, it's just about 5-man stacking in the last lane that has the remaining inhib. And like you're saying, trying to time the wave, so FPX have to pick between the super minions and the charging Splyce, still trying to squeeze something out of this Baron.
Final inhib tower down to half HP. Splyce still pushing in. Kobe trying to get the damage down. Gimgoon takes a little bit of a chip, but not too much. Xerxes still in the middle lane. Humanoid in between the 2, looking for an engage perhaps.
So FPX now need to make the decision, because they probably won't survive these charges. You can either say, okay, maybe Splyce won't try to end the game here. We live to fight another day. Just hold the line. Or you find your single window to go in.
Norscaring goes in. The charm connects. The one is already down. Norscaring force as well. The hero's entrance now from FPX. Last chance saloon. Last defense perhaps. 2 for 1 in favor of FPX so far. Xerxes actually coming back out of the GA, but he will fall. Kobe forced away. Chachi forced away as well. FPX still very healthy. Chris gets rooted up with the Blade Caller, but it's not quite enough. WX now pushing forward. Doinby trying to jump onto the backline, but the Feather Storm still comes out. Kobe manages to land the root. Can he take down WX? Not quite. But WX will fall. Humanoid got gold on the backline, looking for the re-engage. Can't quite find it. Doinby is so low. The rupture connects. And here is the chase. Double kill for Chachi. And now Splyce are focused on the base. The Nexus Tower is their target.
Just clear minions. Just clear minions.
Have so many
Don't try to
coming
put
through, and it's just Gimgoon, and Chachi is
just clear. Kill the turret. Kill the turret. Oh.
Takes the kill. Chachi landing, rupture after rupture.
Okay, fine. This works too. Wait. Did you guys troll? Oh. Damn, what the fuck? This is actually some insane Cho'Gath play.
Trying to take down Tian, but he can't quite get the damage.
Akali has flash.
They want to end. Chachi can teleport back in.
He can, but
this ending's kind of hard. Just wait, end at 5. Damn, the Cho'Gath popped off there. Holy shit.
2 minutes on top of mid inhib. Do not force it too hard, because they have fallen from such a great position last time they played FPX.
Triple inhib. Don't do it. Don't do it, guys. Just wait until 5. Wait until you have 5. You already won the game. Wait until you have 5. Don't troll.
But maybe they play it too cautious. But I really want to zoom in on Chachi here. 7, 1, and 5. From 0 to hero, he has really stood tall today.
5.3k HP Cho'Gath.
He landed about 7 ruptures in a row in the course of that fight. He's sitting at 10 feast stacks on level 16 Cho. 5,500 health before proccing the stone plate. And after LWX dive bombed in to kill Kabe, if Chachi doesn't land another rupture and kill him there, that's a repelled push by FPX. Now they have the triple supers going in, and they're looking to walk this one in with their beefy boy Cho'Gath and take the win.
It was 1,696 days from the first time Chachi played on the stage to when he first qualified for Worlds. Here, he stepped up. He has been
my god, 3 men. Northcaring should have gone on that. You troll Northcaring. Nom nom. Just nom nom. Nom nom.
Opening up, Tian's going to kick him away, but already that's a shutdown on LWX. And you have to feel the Nexus should be the target. Splyce have done it.
That's it, boys.
2-0 on the day. They locked themselves a tiebreaker at least for quarterfinals.
Alright, I'll give Splyce credit where credit is due. They actually improved their mid game, and Vizicsacsi had an amazing game. But other than Vizicacsi's standout performance, like, they are being proactive in mid-game. They're taking objectives. They're not just letting people roll over them, and they're being much better about setups. I want to give Splyce where credit is due. They definitely improved their mid-game, where their huge problem was we would just wait for big item power spikes. Instead of waiting for big item power spikes, when they're ahead, they actually play like they're ahead. Mad props.